Hey, everybody, it's John with another 10-ish minute review. That's right, your Indian Cine-MANIAC is back. Okay, we're cruising through this list, the viewer poll list. And every now and then I'm going to sprinkle in a more current movie that wasn't on this list, but I did put it up for a poll, so I'm going to talk about that in a second. So the film off the viewer choice list this time is 2024's Merry Christmas. Yes, that's right. I am in the holiday spirit, and it's only May. So I was so looking forward to a film that captures the joy and the amazing feeling of being a kid again in this Hindi film, Merry Christmas. That's what I was looking forward to. So this film was directed by Sriram Raghavan, who directed Andhadun and Johnny Gaddar, two movies I liked. It stars Katrina Kaif, who I really like. E.K. the Tiger, Doom 3, and Thugs of Hindostan, amongst other films. Vijay Sethupathi, Vikram Vedha, Jawan, and Vikram. Tinnu Anand, Sita Raman, and Ghanjini. Pari Sharma, and Sanjay Kapoor, who I just saw in Kal Ho Naho. So this was a very interesting movie, and I could tell the guy who directed Andhadun directed this. Now, it opens with a dedication to Shakti Samanta, who directed 2002's Devdas. And that's something these films do a lot. They dedicate it to maybe an old actor or an old director. So this movie was really interesting because the more I read about it, they actually filmed two versions. They did a Hindi version and they did a Tamil version. And the Tamil version, other than the two leads, had a completely different cast. Now, I watched the Hindi version, just to be clear. I did not watch the Tamil version. But I might watch like parts of it just to see the difference. I'm not going to sit through the whole thing again, but it might be interesting to see the difference with the different cast. So let's talk about the story. The story is it occurs on Christmas Eve, and it's a story about a man who recently got out of jail for murdering a woman. He's been in jail for 7 years. He meets another woman with a daughter on Christmas Eve who gets blown off by a blind date. And I guess I have to say there's going to be spoilers because this movie came out in 2024. Some of you may not have seen it, and there are definitely spoilers in this film. And I don't want to give away stuff, but I'm going to. So my advice is if you haven't seen it, don't watch this review because I am going to spoil it. So they meet on Christmas Eve. There's a connection, and there's a murder, and then there's a cover up. And that's the story. I mean, really, that really is the story. Um, so I'm going to give the story because this did remind me of Anne Hun. It's a very, it was tough to figure things out, and it's slow in the beginning. In fact, the first half hour to 45 minutes, I thought it was an adorable rom com because the two leads had had I thought pretty good chemistry, and the way the relationship was developing I thought was adorable. I really did. And I said, okay, this is I don't know what I thought this was going to be based on the trailer, but so I liked it. And then it took a turn. And then once it took the turn, like in An Han Hoon, when you realize that guy's not blind, um, it had a lot of elements of that. And it was a little confusing keeping everything in order and trying to understand exactly what was happening. So, because of that, I'm going to give the story a four because I did find it interesting. I was curious how it was going to end. Were they going to get caught and how they were going or how they were going to get away with it? So, to delve a little more into the story, and again, I'm not going to do a synopsis, but basically what happens is she kills her husband the night that her and the leads meet. Um, and through circumstance, the lead character's name is Albert. He ends up going back to her apartment with their daughter when it was supposed to be someone else because she is setting someone else up to take the fall for her husband's murder. So that was kind of interesting. So he just happened to be there by sheer circumstance. And then she realizes that she can't use him for this for a couple of reasons, and it comes out that he killed his girlfriend. Now, I also got to tell you on a personal level why I connected with this film a little bit. Katrina Kaif plays a character named Maria, and the woman he kills is named Rosie. Well, I married a Rosie, and my high school sweetheart was named Maria. Little reversal. So this movie had extra meaning for me. Anyway, just a little personal information. So as the movie progresses, you find out that she had planned this whole thing to the point that she had two identical apartments, one with the dead body, one without it. So she brings a guy into the one apartment without the dead body. Then they go out for a walk. And then when they come back, they're in a different apartment that looks exactly the same with the dead body. So it's so that was really the plot. So she ends up with another guy, and that was Sanjay Kapoor, who was pretty funny in this too. He played the married guy who, you know, was with Maria's character. Um, the whole thing is set in Bombay, not Mumbai. So the question I had, although I don't think it was implicit, I think it was set in the 1980s because Bombay became Mumbai in 1995. Now they never tell you that, but that's the feeling I got from it, right? They also did a couple of old school film things like the iris. In the old silent films, they used to do this where the iris would close on the lens to the picture, so it would get real small. They did that a couple of times. Um, and then so okay, so now that she set the other guy up, the second guy, not Albert, but Albert knows what's going on, so she helps him cover it up. And the climax of this film is in the jail cell, not the jail cell, the police department, while they're each being interrogated individually, and they don't know each other's there. And what story do they tell about what happened? And there's a couple things that happens there too. She figures out that Albert's actually there because he leaves a paper swan, which plays into this. Also, there's the ending of this, which is really interesting. And I'm skipping over a lot of stuff, obviously. But he had a little bird ornament, a Christmas ornament that plays throughout this movie. Well, he ends up giving it to the little girl who can't talk. But he says, if you say the word abracadabra, you'll be able to talk. And that's what the head police guy is talking to the girl and sees a little bird and he says abracadabra. And he goes, who gave this to you? And she goes, Santa, and points to Albert. So now Albert got busted. And then the other thing Albert did, he had a ring from when he was married to Rosie, when he wanted to ask Rosie to marry him. And he had it in his pocket. He goes, when I'm ready to leave her behind, then I'll get rid of the ring. Well, at the end, he gives Maria the ring because now he's caught, right? But he got caught because he covered for her. And he's sitting in the police station, and he sits down on a chair by himself, his head down. The iris closes, and that's how the film ends. So it's a little open ended, but he basically through some plot devices takes the blame for what she did because obviously he fell in love with her and didn't want her to go to jail. So a couple of things, and like I said, I gave the story a 4, and I really did enjoy this film. A couple of things I didn't like. There were some of the plot devices were a little too convenient. Um, so that was a little bit silly. The second thing was they never really explained why she wanted to kill her husband. Something about they implied he was abusing the daughter. I don't know, but they never really tell you that implicitly. So you're kind of guessing on that. There was a few things that I liked though, like they went to see Pinocchio. Now they couldn't show the film, but you could hear it in the Regal Theater in Mumbai. Then there was a scene where he goes in the house for the first time. He sees a picture and he goes, "Oh, look, a happy family." And she says, "Well, who frames pictures of what I wrote it down. Who frames pictures of people crying?" So it's funny where I thought this was going. I thought she was going to be a psycho and she was going to drug him and kill him because one of the first scenes they show two food processors side by side, split screen. One is crushing up pills, one is crushing up some kind of spice and puts a ring inside. And it was actually each of them in two separate time frames. So I thought she was going to be this nut job that was going to kill the murderer. And they use classical music in this to really good effect. In fact, to cover up the actual shooting. Um, what else? Oh, they flash back. And again, that was another thing I really didn't understand. They flash back to his relationship with Rosie, where the night he killed her, he asked her to marry him. And she says no. And then they don't show why he killed her. They don't show, he just says he killed her. So I would have liked a little. I would have liked a little backstory. They also brought up this thing called the Merry Widow, which I looked up as a 1934 Maurice Chevalier and Jeanette MacDonald movie. And I don't know that movie, so I don't know what the plot is of that movie. The Merry Widow sounds like killing husbands, but whatever. Um, oh, the head cop, the actor. I don't know what his name was, but what you tell me in the comment section, was that just a really bad wig? Because it didn't look like real hair. Anyway, let me know what you think about that. But yeah, the story I'm going to give a four, and then we can talk about the performances. I thought, look, the two leads I thought were really good at this. And I read some of the reviews in IMDb, and Katrina Kaif takes a lot of heat. Like, she's stiff and all this. I thought they were both really good, and I thought their little scenes in the beginning when the relationship was developing, I thought was adorable. So I thought they did really well, and once the other people showed up, he had an uncle, and then the police. I thought the police guys were kind of funny. I thought they were pretty good, but I thought the two leads really made it. So I'm going to give the performances because I thought he was a little better than her, but I thought she did a good job. I'll give them both fours. Um, I thought the performances were good. Now the music was really interesting. It was very there was stuff that sounded very Hindi, right? But there was other music. Like the first song was in a bar and where there was a lounge singer. And again, these weren't musical numbers, just let's throw a musical number in. This was set in a bar. It was very jazzy. And I liked it. And the girl who sang had a good voice. Of course, I don't know if it was her voice. It probably somebody else's. The second song was a love song as they were walking around when she was creating her alibi. The third song and Christmas carols were used a lot in this film, like what's the word? Remixed Christmas carols, because there was a song in the church, "Hark the Bells," that they rejiggered the original Christmas carol, which I thought was good. The fourth song, as they drop him off, Albert. There's an old Hindi song playing. You could tell it was an old song because the woman's voice was very high pitched. It sounded almost a little scratchy, so that was a tribute. The other song they did was when they were tearing down the duplicate room when he was helping her cover it up. And the rest of the music, I thought, like the first 45 minutes, it was very romantic, it was very playful. Then it got kind of mysterious. So I'm gonna give the music a four. Because I thought it fit. It was different. The way they used the record player and the classical music was really interesting too. So yeah, and then finally the overall what I thought about this movie, I'm based on the numbers that I'm given, I'm gonna have to give it a four. Um, it's weird because I'm rating it a four. It wasn't like it was a great movie, but I have to say, I found the male actor especially, I found him really interesting. And I thought he did a nice job in this. One, when he was terrified of going back to jail. Two, there were moments of anger that you could see maybe the person who killed Rosie. But then as he's starting to figure out what she's doing and he's kind of playing along and then he kind of befriends the girl. I thought he was wonderful in this. And so yeah, I'm going to give it a 4. So this was interesting. Wasn't what I expected, but pleasantly so. So check this out if you get a chance in either the Hindi or Tamil version, okay? Now, the next film I am going to do is back to the viewer list. And this one is Rocky Aur Rani Ki Prem Kahani, which I think is Rocky and Rani a love story. I think that's what that translates to. I'm not 100% sure. And I've got a treat for you because I'm going to get my wife to watch this one because it's a rom-com. And I saw the trailer, and I think this is a movie she will like. And I also want to give you a heads up. I'm not sure exactly when it's going to happen, but I am bringing Drew Gould from The Big Show on to our little 10ish minute review, and we're going to review Cathal, and that'll be after Rocky. And then I'm going back to the viewer choices. So that's a little heads up right there. So that's it. That was a 15-ish minute review. So let me know what you think in the comment section. Am I crazy? Am I overrating this film? What do you think about Katrina Kaif, other than the fact that she is gorgeous and a wonderful dancer? Let me know what you think. Okay. So that's it. Thanks for watching, everybody. And we're going to talk to you soon with another 10ish minute review. Thanks for watching, everybody.